and welcome to our secret undisclosed picnic location. Today I don't need my flute, I'm just going to talk to you, so I thought it would be nice to meet together over a casual picnic while I talk about the somewhat stressful topic of my own preparations and performance of my Carnegie Hall recital debut. This is a story I like to tell my students because I think it really illustrates how powerful visualization can be and how envisioning success can really lead to success. But I don't get a chance to tell it very often because it takes up a lot of lesson time. As far as the picnic goes, I am getting so tired of my food regimen. I realize that I have not been to a restaurant for months, and also that there is a Whole Foods store just down the street from my house that I have never shopped at. So I decided to go to the Whole Foods store and we can explore the kinds of foods that they have there for the first time for me together while we talk about Carnegie Hall. So let's reach in this bag and see what I have at the top here. Oh, look at that! It's grain-free paleo puffs, honey roasted with organic coconut oil. I never knew there was such a thing. Let's see if it's any good. They're kind of sweet. I thought they'd be more like Cheetos or something. That's pretty good. I can tell you from my own experiences giving concerts that the single most important thing to do to avoid performance anxiety is to be really, truly prepared. I've been much more nervous for dinky little concerts that I've been underprepared for than for really big, important career concerts where I've been really prepared. But the next most important thing you can do really is to visualize success. Imagine yourself in the concert, imagine it going great, imagine feeling really proud of it, and you'll feel much more optimistic and you'll prepare much better. It may be obvious now that it's not only good for you as a flute player, but as a whole musician and as a whole performing artist. And in fact, as anyone who has to deal with a situation under pressure and perform, like chefs. I miss chefs. But this applies to every human being, really. That's why there are so many things that human beings in general do to visualize successful outcomes. And that's one reason that I'm talking about this today, because there's a lot of stress out there right now. And if you can envision that we're going to get past this strange little period of time and our lives will go back to being good, you're much more likely to get there than if you start to envision your life kind of crumbling to pieces. So we want to practice envisioning success in every realm of our life. So should we look at another food item? Let's see what's next here. Pomegranate seeds. Here's my mask made out of a napkin that I don't need right now. And my fork. I'm gonna try these pomegranate seeds and see what I think. Quite good, as expected. I want to be sure that everyone knows what I'm talking about when I say visualize. Basically, visualization is imagining the future that you want for yourself, envisioning it as clearly as you can, and imagining yourself living in that future. And the more that you can see it and feel it and believe in it, the more powerful it is. We as human beings often talk about coming up with goals, and we say, write down your goals so that you will remember them. But images are much more powerful than words. You're much more likely to forget words, even if you write them down. But if you can wrap yourself in this vision of what you believe your future should be, and give yourself as much belief as possible in that future, it will empower you to do everything you can to get to that future. And this is an incredible power that the human mind has, and it's a power that we've used ever since we've been around as human beings. It's how we've been creative and inventive through our whole history as a species. If you think about the visions of the future that have led us to create new experiences for ourselves and new technology and new machines, it's because somebody envisioned it. And so today I want to tell you the story of my own biggest kind of trial by fire, which was my Carnegie Hall recital debut, and tell you how envisioning that as a successful experience, I have no doubt really helped it to become successful. By the way, I should mention, I'm wearing this hat because I think that's Kokopelli on this hat running a half marathon in Moab. So Kokopelli can be with us, and after our picnic we can be inspired to go out and do some exercise. But back to Carnegie Hall. The reason I gave my Carnegie Hall premiere was that I won this competition called Artists International that they used to have in New York. It was a great thing back when they had it. I think they gave about 15 to 20 emerging musicians a year the chance to give their recital debut. It was all put together by this management team from this competition. Anyway, I won the award. I was very excited about that, and I arranged for my recital debut to be January 11th because I figured that would give me a month between semesters. I was in New York for the whole month. I was working really hard, and by the time the concert came around, because it had been my sole focus for a month, I was ultra prepared for it. I've never been more prepared for any concert. Should we do another food item? Let's see. Aha! Bison Epic Protein Gluten-Free Bar. Sorry if you're vegetarian. I also used a lot of visualization for that entire month leading up to my Carnegie Hall concert. I had heard a story about Van Cliburn, who is a pianist who is known for having really bad performance anxiety. But what I heard was that for the month leading up to his Carnegie Hall recital debut, every night he would put on his outfit for the performance. He would pretend that one wall of his living room was the audience, and at concert time he would go and bow to the audience and imagine them clapping. He would sit down and play his first piece. He would stand up and bow and walk off stage. He would do the whole concert for a month before the actual concert came around. I wasn't quite that diligent, but I was close. Every day, not at the exact concert time, but at my best practicing time, I would warm up just a little bit, but not enough to make myself tired. And then I would put on my shoes and I would walk on and off stage. I had a wall in the attic where I was staying that was the audience, and I would bow to the audience and I'd do the whole concert. When intermission time came, I would take the intermission. I would imagine being backstage with my colleagues who were going to be there, and then I'd go out and play the second half. And when it was over, I would carefully go through the whole thing and figure out what I wanted to do better, and then I would go back and in my own separate practice time work on those things. Also at night, I would visualize in another way. I would go to bed early every night. I imagined in my head the entire concert. I imagined myself in the dress that I was going to wear. I imagined walking out onto stage, and I made sure to tell myself, I look graceful and elegant, and I did not trip over my dress, and all those things. All the pieces that I was playing from memory, I went through the memory one last time in my head before I went to sleep. And I did this every night for a full month. Well, that bison meat really kind of filled me up, but still have some food in here, so I'll at least show you. This bag is so light. I'll open this up later on and see what it looks like. Freeze-dried raspberries. If you can see them, they look a lot like normal raspberries, but they're so light. They're totally turning my hand red. Let's see here. Kamato sweet brown grape tomatoes. These tomatoes are quite interesting looking. They're quite brown. So yeah, I'll try some of those later too. Just have to get over that bison meat. So still, I would say that Carnegie Hall concert was the most stressful concert of my career so far. So let's talk about how did it go? After all that visualization, did it work? And how do I know that it worked? How do I know that yes, the concert went well? Why do I feel it was because of the visualization? Well, let me tell you about 3 days in my life. January 11th, that was the day of my concert. January 10th was the dress rehearsal. And January 9th was the last day that I had a lot of rehearsals, a lot of practicing that I did in order to get ready for my dress rehearsal. Just before January 9th, I had learned that there was indeed a newspaper critic who was committed to coming and reviewing my concert. So that got me a little bit more keyed up. And then on January 9th, I learned that Max Wilcox was going to come to the concert. Max Wilcox was a legendary classical music producer. He was swimming in Grammys, and he'd recorded all these legendary classical musicians. He was going to come to my recital and listen to me to decide whether or not he would agree to record my first solo CD. And I found out the night before my dress rehearsal, and that got me quite nervous. So I went to talk to a friend about this. This is a friend and mentor that I had whose musical opinion, I still greatly admire. However, I will say this person isn't in my life very much anymore. I'll go ahead and say this as quickly as I can. This person isn't in my life much because you really want to surround yourself with people who truly want you to succeed. It's not only best for your life path, but it's definitely healthiest. This person was really into mind games and wanted to cause me stress, and I knew it. Whew. Now that that's said, in the course of the conversation, we talked about my new flute. I had bought a flute a few months before this concert, and so he ventured his opinion of my new flute. And what he told me the night before my Carnegie Hall dress rehearsal was, "There are lots of really nice things about this new flute of yours, but honestly, I think it's lacking something really special. I think you're going to need to replace it with another flute just as soon as you can find the flute that truly is the right fit for you." I left that conversation and I was so stressed, unbelievably stressed. The next morning I got up and I needed to take the train in for my Carnegie Hall dress rehearsal. I could not eat anything. I couldn't have breakfast. I took a train through Port Authority. There's a bakery that I went to. I was looking around thinking, I must eat something. And I couldn't think of anything that I was willing to eat. But there was some freshly squeezed orange juice, so I bought myself a glass of that. And I can remember I paid with cash, and my mind was so befuddled about how much I had given them and the change they gave back to me. And let me tell you, I was a math major for 2 years when I was at Oberlin. Oh, that reminds me. I have some yogurt, probiotic, cashew milk yogurt. What could be more healthy than that? Blueberry. I'll have some of this in a minute after I've talked to you for a bit more. And then I went to Carnegie Hall and pulled out my flute and got in the hall and started warming up. This is where the visualization kicked in and the preparation, because I could tell that I was ultra prepared. Everything was going great. And my sound in that hall, I will tell you, it was so beautiful. And so I thought of that friend and I was just like, who cares what you say? Who cares what you think? I sound great. And so from the time that my dress rehearsal started, I got more and more confident. When it ended, I was able to eat some real food. Oh, let's check in. Let's see, anything else? 2 more things. This is a turmeric cold pressed juice shot. Oh, that's kind of like the orange juice. After I have my yogurt, I'll try this. Turmeric, spices, and orange. Looks rather medicinal, but we'll try it and see what it's like. And dessert, woo, some other time. Coconut butter cups. That's gotta be a pretty healthy dessert, right? Okay, well anyway, I ate some real food, and from the time that that dress rehearsal started until the time that my Carnegie Hall concert started, I felt better and better and better. And when I walked out on the stage of Carnegie Hall, I felt like I was at home. I felt so good. And the hall was full. And I looked out and I saw several friends and I saw some family members. And I felt this incredible warm energy, both from myself and from the hall. And distantly, somewhere in the back of my mind, I knew there was a newspaper critic out there. I knew that Max Wilcox was out there, but it didn't even matter because I felt so good. In the end, it was all a happy story. Max Wilcox did come. He did agree to record my first CD. I have no doubt that having visualized this concert going so well and having success really built that future for me and made it happen. But as far as this picnic today, let's consider this little tiny pile of food right here cost me $30. Musicians need to be frugal. Even though I can afford this, I should get a lot more for $30. Maybe sometimes we'll talk about musicians and money skills, because if you're a musician, you're gonna need some. But how about this? Since I can't afford it, there's a humanitarian aid fund that I know and trust, and I will contribute $30 to that humanitarian aid fund because I feel a little silly right now spending that much money on this tiny pile of groceries when there are people out there who need help right now. Now everyone go and visualize your very best future, not only in music, in other things as well, but when you're getting ready for your next music concerts, even if it's like a live Facebook concert or something like that, try using this power of visualization. It should really help you to do your very best.